Hi everyone! In this video, we will identify type 1 and type 2 errors for a hypothesis test. A hospital implements a new patient care protocol, claiming it reduces post-operative infection rates to below 5%. The null hypothesis is that the infection rate is 5% or higher, and the alternative hypothesis is that it is less than 5%. Define the type 2 error for this study. Let's go ahead and identify our two hypotheses, the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis is that the infection rate is 5% or higher. That means greater than or even equal to 5%. In some cases, we would simplify this and just say that the mu equals 0.05 and not use inequality in conjunction with the equal sign. The alternative we were given is that it is less than 5%, so this will be that mu is less than 0.05, changing it to a decimal instead of a percent. Let's talk about the type 1 and type 2 errors. I like to write these out in order of type 1 first and then type 2. Then in saying the phrase true or false in the same order that we write type 1 and type 2. So true or false. And this is in reference to the null hypothesis, meaning that the null hypothesis is true in a type 1 error and it is false in a type 2 error. However, because we are dealing with an error, that means that we wrongly conclude the opposite. So with the type 1 error, if the null is true, we wrongly conclude that the alternative is true. And so we reject the null and accept or conclude that the alternative is true. A type 2 error is when the null hypothesis is false, and instead of rejecting it, we fail to reject it, which is the error for the type 2. And this is the one we will be using for our type 2 error of this study. This means that we fail to reject the null hypothesis that the infection rate is 5% or higher. So we incorrectly conclude that the null hypothesis is true, when in reality it is less than 5%. We've now identified the type 2 error for this hypothesis test, and we're all done.